Hello, everyone. This is Bobby C. from Anonymous Addiction. And on this podcast, I'm going to be discussing traditional AA versus secular AA. AA standing for Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, a little disclaimer. I consider myself a philosopher, a lover of wisdom. I like to seek out information. I consider myself, I don't like to label myself, so I don't really consider myself atheist, secular, spiritual, because as soon as I place a label on myself, somebody else is going to use that label as they recognize it in their system, in their programming, whatever their consciousness of spirituality or secularism or atheism is. And they're going to think that my reality is the same as theirs. So I try to stay away from labels. But I'm going to probably label this belief in authority because I believe traditional AA and secular AA is actually the same bird. It's just a different wing of the hierarchy pyramid of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, I just wrote a thing on my, if you want to go to Facebook, I have a link down here. If you want to subscribe, check out my link on Linktree, and it connects to the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Anchor. And I'm always talking about creating our own programs. You know, I fully believe no matter where you go, there's one thing in common, and that's us. That's me. That's the thing that's in common. And there's a word that people use, occult, meaning hidden or secret knowledge. And once you kind of uncover, recover, and discover a lot of the secret knowledge, you'll understand that it all comes from us. So, help is the pointer to the way, but we are the way. When this free thinker, I'm just going to read this: free thinkers are those willing to use their minds without prejudice, without fearing to understand things that clash with their own customs, privileges, or beliefs. This state of mind is not common, but it is essential for right thinking. Where it is absent, discussion is apt to become worse than useless. So I just want to, first of all, to the secular recovery community, my hats are off to you. This is really about principle before personalities, as they say. And, I don't know who coined that. I don't think it came from AA. But this thing isn't against the members. This podcast is not going to be against the members. It's just making the members, some members, aware of the hierarchy of the pyramid of Alcoholics Anonymous and how the separation, it's like me not believing in God but still going to church. You could take the word God out, but the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, the 12 concepts, they're still, if you look it up, if you look up 12, 12, and 12, it's symbolic. It's not there. They didn't just make this up. It's very symbolic. 12, 12, and 12. It stands for perfection, God, heaven, actually government, control. So the members that are still in secular AA, I believe they're still under control of the society, of the world's largest monopoly. And it's connected, I believe, to the government and to religion, which I believe is all connected. Okay. So, the court systems, send people to Alcoholics Anonymous. The treatment centers send people to Alcoholics Anonymous. Lawyers, doctors, uh, psychiatrists, even the parents, they'll send people to Alcoholics Anonymous. That in itself is a monopoly. And it's breaking away from that. I mean, I wouldn't even be on this podcast if it wasn't. You know, we have a lot of different modalities today. You know, smart recovery, refuge. We have recovery dharma. We have the craft way. We have life process, the model. We have different types of. We got the freedom model. We have a lot of different places to go today. Smart recovery. If I would suggest anyone that really doesn't believe in God or spirituality or higher power, I would suggest just go into a smart recovery meeting or go online to a smart recovery meeting on Zoom or something to check it out. Me personally, I don't believe today that I have to go ritual to meetings, because still in the secular Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, they still recruit. Okay, it's still 12 and 12 and 12. Me personally, I'm not going to give my will and my life over to the care of Alcoholics Anonymous. When they say God, when they say higher power, what they're really talking about is giving my will and my life over to Alcoholics Anonymous, not God, because they want to keep me in there for life. They want me to think that they are responsible, just like the government would be responsible for my life. You know, they want to be responsible for my life. So they want me to give my will, my life, and I believe in, you know, the spirit, my body, mind, and spirit over to their care. And you know, I refuse to do that from the beginning, you know, just to let the viewers know. February 27th, 1984, I went to my first Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. I stayed in there. I have 37 years in the recovery community, 37 years, knowledge, experience, good, bad, and everything in between in the recovery community. I was in Alcoholics Anonymous for 30 years, in and out. I was very fortunate that in the beginning, this gentleman that came to me and helped me, they call sponsors, didn't push anything, didn't give me any fear, guilt, and shame. He kept it simple, and he just took me to a meeting and introduced me to some of his friends and his home group. And from there, I expanded my consciousness. I checked other things out. I went to 101. I went to group therapy. I checked out ACOA. You know, I checked out the CODA. I even dabbled in Anthony Robbins, motivational speaker. Wayne Dyer 37 years ago, you know. So everything evolves. You know, when I first came in, there was no internet. So I didn't really have choices. I was labeled alcoholic. Today, I do not believe in the disease concept. I don't call myself alcoholic. I don't even talk about my alcohol habit, because it's like I don't talk about not smoking anymore. I don't smoke today, so I don't go around telling everybody that every day that I don't smoke. You know, it was a habit. I stopped it, and I move on. And I'd like to pass that on to the viewers. You know, in the beginning, we need help. You know, I raised my hand and I said, help. I said yes to help. And that's what it took. It took me to say yes to help. That came from me. It didn't come from God. It didn't come from a higher power. Even though I personally believe, this is my personal belief, I believe that the whole universe has a cause and effect. There, you know, certain things. When my wife went to Al-Anon, and I knew that she had power, I knew that she was developing power. and fear got into me, and I was fearing that she was going to leave me. And so it set some fire under my butt. And, I seek some help. I raised my hand. So she was part of that, you know, and I don't deny any of that. I don't deny that Alcoholics Anonymous was part of it. But my message is to expand our consciousness and expand our awareness, and be careful of the messaging, the repetition, the repetition of words, phrases, sayings. Repetition is the mother of skill, but it's also the mother of brainwashing. So to all the secular members, atheist, agnostic, even people believe in spiritual, they believe in spirituality, but they're not in the hierarchy of Alcoholics Anonymous or the 12-step program. My hats are off to you, and you're doing a great thing, and you have achieved these things that millions of us have achieved. It's really that simple, you know. I believe stopping a habit, drugs or alcohol or any type of behavior, is really not hard. The hard part for me was always the life, living life, on life's terms, as they say, living life, experiencing life with tools, strategies, different types of information, knowledge, wisdom along this way that I call a life journey. And I don't even like to use the word recovery, because the recovery industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And it's like, be careful, secular AA members. Take a look. Just take a look at the hierarchy, the pyramid, the top. Even in the secular community, who is benefiting? Who's writing the books? Who's writing the pamphlets? The little change that it's going to create in the money stream of the grapevine, which we know there's two corporations. There's World Service and there's Grapevine. One's for the member money and one's for the book and pamphlet and CD money. It's the same thing that's going to happen and is happening, and it's been happening in secular Alcoholics Anonymous. Follow the money, connect the dots. It all goes to the top. It all goes to the ones that are writing the books, writing the pamphlets, creating their publishing companies, creating their own social media outlet. I'm going to mention, it used to be called AA Beyond Belief, which I love. I'll tell you what, the person, his name is John. I'm not, and Angela kind of talk on it. And it helped me so much. It was unbelievable. About a year and a half ago, I got on a podcast with John with Anonymous AA Beyond Belief, and it really helped change my life. But it wasn't AA that helped change my life. It was this gentleman that kind of introduced me to podcasting and showed me that, he was kind of had a like-minded in himself about some of the things that I was sharing, which kind of validated with a lot of things I was sharing, So a shout out to, he changed from AA Beyond Belief to Beyond Belief. So check out his podcast. They got John and Angelo on there, but it's very good. And also subscribe to Anonymous Addiction. It's my truth about AA, as Bobby C sees it. And this is as Bobby C sees it, because, in the books they used to have as Bill sees it. I used to say, I don't buy this stuff as Bill sees it. It says Bobby C sees it. And they used to say, what do you, is it Bobby C sees it? They used to kid me. And I used to say, yeah, it's as Bobby C sees it. Getting back to the personalities, like, I'm just going to give you a definition of a cult. Cult is a society, is a social group that is defined by its unusual religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs, or by its common interest in a particular personality, which is Bill W. Dr. Bob, Silkworth, and all the other gurus that they created. You are the guru. These people aren't the gurus. And it says in particular personalities, objects, which are the AA coins given out to millions of AA coins given out every day all around the world, coins after coins. It's Alcoholics Anonymous is a business. Check out it's two corporations, but it's a nonprofit. Check out nonprofits, really. Come on. Are they really nonprofit? Check out where the money flows. So it's personalities, objects, and goals. And we all know, anybody that's been in Alcoholics Anonymous for a while, that they have this desire, I guess, to Alcoholics Anonymous creates this atmosphere where you want to have a lifetime devotion to them. Because if you don't, it's one day at a time. They believe the only cure is Alcoholics Anonymous. So if you don't go to AA, you'll probably end up, this is what they say in the book, you surely will die. And you could die, go to institution, or jail. 3 alternatives. Mm-hmm. And so they want you to have a lifetime devotion. It's almost like, I'll use the word socialism in the sense that they want you to be reliant, not you be responsible, but put the responsibility onto Alcoholics Anonymous for life and give your will over, your life will and care over, and recruit others. And make sure you recruit others for life. That to me, I tell you, that alone, I never tried to do. I always tried to help people open their minds, to expand their minds, become more aware. I always spoke a different language in Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't like to parrot things. I spoke a different, because I went outside the box and learned different things. So when I came in, I was gentle. Look, I did everything they told me to do. Tradition AA, secular AA. I was secular AA in AA. They told me everything. I did everything they told me to do. In the beginning, I didn't go to a step meeting for a year, and I stayed sober. Then eventually I went to a step meeting. I didn't go to meetings every day. They said meeting makers make it. When I go on vacation, I didn't go to meetings. I read some spiritual books and different, or any type of book, logical, rational book. It gave me some different types of thinking. I did everything they told me to do, and then I didn't do everything they told me to do, and found out it was the same. What I found out, it was this is what I'm finding out, which I found out is the truth. It's all a placebo effect. It's all just a placebo effect. We create it. That's why I like, you can go to my podcast, and I always talk about creating our own programs. You can take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, go here, go there. It's a journey. Philosophy is when you're a philosopher, you're a student of the world, universe, the life, life form. You're a philosopher. You're a student of wisdom. So you're always checking things out. And I think that's what this they call recovery, is just a life journey. It's just this journey along the way. So recruiting others. That's just check out the definition of cult. A cult means hidden secrets, hidden knowledge. And what we're trying to do is uncover a lot of knowledge and wisdom that people have found out along the way. Now, so the difference, let's see, the difference would be in the purpose. Let's see, my purpose or my vision would be for next generations. This is my prediction in the future. The generations to come, they're not going to want to be called names like alcoholic, alcoholism, you know, addict. You know, I know people that are calling their kids addicts and alcoholics. You know, they're 15, 16 years old. They're labeling them right from the beginning. There's so much new uh, scientific knowledge, but I believe that there's so much practical, common sense knowledge today that we don't have to guilt and shame people that are using. You know, they talk about harm reduction. I fully like uh, harm reduction because it's reducing to harm. If you're giving a young boy or girl some information about uh, the cause and effect and the consequences of their behavior, uh, showing them that maybe keep track of their using. Not They don't have to give it up completely right now because let's face it, alcohol and drugs do serve a purpose for us that are suffering. They talk about trauma. Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, which is the same as trauma. You know, you'll go words. You know, words have a tendency to cast spells upon us. So these words that they use are actually new words. They like to make up different words, you know, because it's a good sales tactic and it sells their product, which is them and their books and their ideas. And I don't discount trauma because we all suffered some trauma. Some are gravely worse than others. But if you really look into the word, we all have trauma, and we all have pain body. So this is just the first. This is the first podcast. This is part one of traditional AA versus secular AA. I'm going to be doing a part two and a part three. So it's going to be a three-part series on. I see really no difference besides you not believing in God or higher power. But the weird part about it is I know a lot of secular people in recovery that do believe in spirituality, you know. And then you got the AA agnostic, which is another branch they want to separate, but it's all the same. It's secular, but they want to separate that, the agnostic, the atheist, and the true believer, which is religion, true believer in God, agnostic, atheist, but they're all in the same pyramid. You know, they're all in the same pyramid. So I believe people are putting themselves in a trap. People are putting themselves in a prison. So my message is to escape the prison, go beyond this AA, this Alcoholics Anonymous myth, which they've been selling for 86 years, which a lot of my podcasts, if you go to Joey C. and I have a podcast called Alcoholics Anonymous Deprogramming Podcast, and a shout out to Joey C. Hey, Joey. Joey was on the last podcast we had, and he'll be a reoccurring guest. So my hope is for the next generations. I can see a generation without labels, without even anonymous, without even half the being anonymous, without all this recovery trap, this recovery industry making trillions of dollars off of the people, creating victims for a lifetime, coming back to recovery programs, because it's going to be like quitting smoking. You don't go around going to meetings every day quitting smoking. It's really not much different. It's just a society has promoted this, and we as humans have latched onto this, thinking that this is the way to go. In the future, I see this all going away. The war on drugs, we all know that was a scam. That was just a money-making government scam. And so this is part one. I'm going to be signing off, and I just to all the viewers and all the listeners and all the secular, agnostic, uh, spiritual. I don't even care if you believe in God, if you're going somewhere outside. Me personally, I don't believe in religion. Okay, me personally, I don't believe in any religion. Okay, and I think a lot of secular and a lot of agnostic may tend to think that way. I don't know, but me personally, I do not believe in organized religion. So just to let you know, getting back to you next podcast on, I'll be talking about part two of. It might not be next podcast. We may be doing something else next podcast, but I'm going to be doing a part two on this traditional AA and secular AA. So to all the listeners, take care and make sure you subscribe, like, and go over to Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast. You can check me out on Facebook. Uh, I'm at Anonymous Addiction, My Truth About AA, as Bobby CC's a private group. It's a private group. So take care now, everyone. I'm going to see you later.